ideas up on the board, please take a minute and read the ideas that are up there. If you have anything else to add, go ahead and do that. We're going to give you about just another minute here, so I am going to set the timer for 1 more minute. If you have any other ideas, you can add those. Otherwise, go ahead and read through the ideas that are up there. If you think one of those ideas is a really good idea, go ahead and put a star. I know during orientation you guys learned how to use the star, the arrow, the check mark, the little finger pointing. So if one of those works really well for you, then please go ahead and put a mark next to it. Okay, excellent. So yeah, so pay attention and complete all work. Absolutely a good idea. Attend all your classes on time, another really good one. Do homework and listen in class, be on top of your coursework and your schedule. Listen to teachers, make it a priority to participate. I love that. Get to know what you're doing better so you can understand what's going on and make sure you get things done in a timely manner. Absolutely. Timely manner is going to be one of the very most important things that you need to keep on top of because time can get away very quickly. One thing is to be successful is to attend classes regularly. Yeah, and this class today is going to be a little bit more dry. Won't be quite as much fun. But moving forward, our classes will be a lot more interactive and a lot more where you guys are moving around and doing some different things in class. But we got to get through the nitty-gritty. We got to get through the basics, and then we'll be able to move forward. Okay, so this is the Foundations of Art class. Now, at the beginning of all the classes, we will be we will go over this slide right here for you. So this slide here just says recording has begun. The session's now being recorded. So it's just letting you know that this is a recorded session, so these are saved. And also that everything you say and type is being recorded on the archive. So please be sure your comments are school appropriate and respectful of others. So whatever you say in class, whether you type it privately to me or to another student or in the public chat or on the board, anything you do, say anything. It will be recorded, so make sure it's something that you are comfortable with in the open forum of our classroom. So would you walk into a room and shout it out? So think of it that way. Because also, do not forget that I am a mandated reporter, so be careful what you share in class. If you need any additional support or you can feel free to reach out to me after class or to our guidance office. Okay, so today's objective, getting to know you, course expectations, course overview, setting goals, and what to do next. So first and foremost, my name is Mrs. Watts, and this is your art course. I hope you had a great summer and are excited to get started. I will be your art teacher this year. This will be my 3rd year with Agora, and I've been teaching since 2003. All but 3 of those years have been in the cyber school setting. I have a certification in both art education K-12 as well as business technology K-12. Just to give you a little background, my family and I are amusement park fans. We are fanatics about it. We love going on the roller coasters and all the different rides. So here's just to share a few pictures of my family and I. And also a few pictures of my son and I on some of the coasters. He has no fear on the giant coasters, and as you can see, this is one of his favorite pictures. As you can see, I have a bit of fear on the coasters. So if you guys have ever ridden any of those big coasters, you probably know what I'm talking about. But does anybody in the class, anybody here, a fan of amusement parks? Anybody have any amusement parks near them? We're all over from the state. Excellent. Anybody get to go to any parks? I know that Hershey has some big ones. Dorney has some big ones. There's a few different parks. If you can tell from the screen, we've gone to Kennywood this summer. We went to Cedar Point as well. If any of you are up near the Cedar Point area, you may have gone over there. Nobles, excellent. I haven't been there, but I do want to go. They have some really good roller coasters there. I want to get to Kings Island too. That's another one. They have some really big ones I want to try. Excellent. Awesome. Oh no, Michael. Oh no, that would have been really bad if you had. Yeah, there's a few coasters that I've taken my kids on that I get a little nervous with them because they do. They put their hands up and it's like no big deal. Like, but I hold on. I get a little nervous with it. Well, if anybody has any really fun pictures from any fun things, amusement parks or any other fun things you did over the summer, feel free to bring them next time we come to class, next time we have class, because I'll have the whiteboard up and you guys can post them up on the board, just like these are up on the board for you. And if you have any pictures of the crazy coasters where people almost fell out, yeah, bring those as well. Which I am glad nobody fell out of any of their coasters. It does feel like you're going to. I still have to ride the Steel Vengeance. The line's been too long when we've gone, so that's the next one I have to ride, the Steel Vengeance. I don't know, people have said that they get off and they have trouble walking. It's so intense. So we'll see how that goes. I'll make sure to bring the picture of off the coaster so you guys can see that, the sheer terror on my face. All right, so where are you guys from? Go ahead and put a mark up on the board. Put a mark and show me where you're from. You can use whatever icon you want to use. There's a bunch of different ones. There's clip art you can use. So whichever one you want to use. Mark where you're from. Lots of Philly, absolutely. Wow. Okay, so my last class, there were actually quite a few students over on the western side, which is where I'm at. I'm over where the Allegheny County area is, Allegheny County, Washington County. So there were a lot of students in that class from that area. So not many over on my side. We have one in Lawrence, one in Erie. Oh, if you're in Erie, you probably are pretty close to Cedar Point. A little closer than me. But lots and lots and lots of people over at the Philly side. So that is really cool because there are students from so many different places all over, and I love that. I think that's really fun. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I have a video for you, and this video is just going to take the information that's in your syllabus and it's going to go through that information that's in that syllabus. So what you're going to be able to do is watch this video, and hopefully it'll get you some a refresher if you've read the syllabus. If you haven't read the syllabus, then hopefully this will give you some ideas on what the different policies with the class are. Now what I'll do is I will put the link in the text box, and then I will also play the video on the screen. So sometimes the video doesn't always play for you, so that's why I always will put that link in the text box. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, guys, excellent. So yes, that is I made that. That is our video that just goes over a few of the different things that you need to know when you are navigating the course. Today's class is going to focus on what you need to know for the course. So that is why we are we're going to review all of that, and we're going to go over that in a couple different ways. Okay, so who has started art orientation? So who has started art orientation? Put your mark in either the yes box or the no box. And there's not a right or wrong answer. Today is the first day of classes, so it's okay if you put no. This is not the school orientation. This is the orientation for art class. So what do you think? So started art orientation. Yes, and I do have a YouTube channel. Yeah, so if you guys wanted to, that was where that came from. If you had wanted to subscribe to that, you can absolutely. Okay. So art orientation, what does it look like? Well, it looks different than what you did prior. This is what your art orientation is going to look like. So it's very simple. All you have to do is click on your table of contents or click on the word content. Remember, from orientation you can do one of those. And then you're going to click on Unit 1. When you click on Unit 1, the lower folders will open up. You're going to click on Course Materials and Policy. When you click on that, you're going to see all of these different items here. So we have our syllabus. We have our teacher contact info, our Foundations of Art A late policy, the Agora Art Department late policy, academic integrity, and our Raise Your Hand discussion board. So you're going to start off with your syllabus. That is the most important thing that you're going to take a look at this week, because that is going to break down all of the different rules and regulations and policies of the class. Okay, so we're going to just discuss a few of the items that you will see in that orientation folder, and you will, on your own time, go through those different items and review that information. So first of all, in art class, we want to be smart. So we want to share and be kind, make mistakes and learn from them, admire each other's work and discuss, respect each other 100% of the time, think before we speak, act, and do. So these are our main rules of the class. And that's during live classes, during discussion boards, any of those. Okay, so Foundations of Art A. This is the course description. If you picked your courses from the catalog, this is what you would have read about the course. So basically, it's letting you know that this course is going to use art history, it's going to use art appreciation, and art analysis. And then you'll also do hands-on creative projects. So that is going to be the focus of this class. Absolutely. If you like hands-on, you came to the right place. The nitty-gritty, policies and procedures. All right, first and foremost, excellence is expected. I know that you can all be successful with effort. Contact me if you're having trouble. Submit all assignments on or before the due date. And this is a big one because for some reason this happens every year. Cheating plagiarism will not be tolerated. Any assignment that has been plagiarized will receive an automatic 0. What has happened in the class before, and it usually happens once a year, is somebody takes an image from online. They, the assignment is, I'm just going to make it up. The assignment is to create a picture of an animal. They'll go online, somebody goes online and they use the snipping tool or they save the picture to their own computer as their own, rename it, crop it, and then turn it in for the assignment. So just an FYI, just a heads up on that. It's not going to work because we do have Google and it searches for the image and matches the image. There's also a lot of metadata within that image that it pulls from. So every time it has happened, the student it's flagged, and then I get a alert, and then I know it's been plagiarized, and then I'm able to, they get a 0, and then they get a referral to administration. So please, please, please don't do that. So instead, if you're having trouble, I want you to contact me for help. Email, phone, before, after class, the raise your hand discussion board, any of those will work. Also, engagement in live class and lessons is very important. The late work policy for the course. This is what you'll read in the syllabus, but I wanted to review it with you as well. Always check the course calendar for the most up-to-date due dates. All quizzes assignments will take place through the school site. All projects, studios, and sketches will be done by hand using art supplies, then scanned and submitted through the course. All art projects must be done by hand, not a computer program, unless otherwise directed to do so. Late work policy, student handbook, page 28. This is what you will read if you look through the handbook. All graded assignments, whether teacher or electronically scored, will be given a due date within the course and will be visible in the class plan and also in the PEAK dashboard. The consequences of submitting work after the due date is determined by each teacher. So whenever you guys are going through your classes, you'll want to see what your teacher's syllabuses or syllabi say about the late policy in their courses. So you want to make sure that you pay attention when your teacher explains what the policy is. Work in this course is to be submitted on or before the due date. End of semester and school closings may affect unit lesson closures, so ensure you attend or view the live classes for announcements, and make sure to read all email correspondence regarding due dates. Now, this is the part that I want you to pay attention to. There's two parts here. One, late work will not be accepted. Unit and lesson close dates are hard dates. However, extensions are offered on a case-by-case basis when I am contacted prior to due dates passing. So what that means is, if you just decide you're not going to do anything in art class for a month, and then you realize that you're not passing and that you actually did have to do some work in order to pass, and then you try to submit a bunch of stuff, that's not going to be graded. If you need an extension, if you don't understand the assignment and you've reached out to me and you need a little bit more time now that you understand it, if you have 3 thesis papers, research papers due for different classes that week, and it's the same week that your sketchbooks are due, you can reach out to me for an extension. If you have 4 finals in 1 week, and that does happen, and our final project is due, and you need a little bit more time, you can reach out to me for an extension. Now, the extensions are offered on a case-by-case basis because nobody has the same situation. Everyone is going to have different classes. Everyone is going to have different things happening that are going to cause you to possibly fall behind. And if that's the case, I want to set up an agreement with you, just you and just I, not just across the board for the whole class, because everybody's different. So what you need may be different than what the student next to you might need. Okay, any questions on the difference between late work and extensions? I just wanted to make sure you guys understood. There's a difference between the two. A lot of times students will read late work is not accepted and then think that's it. They don't read the extension part. The extensions are permitted. Okay, excellent. Just wanted to double check before we moved on with that. Okay. So, due dates. When and where? If you look at the class plan to-do list calendar, you will see the due dates. If you also look at the course materials and look at the Foundations of Art pacing calendar, that has the same due dates. So it just depends on if you like using a calendar that's a PDF or if you like using the plan in the course. Just a personal preference. Please make sure that you take and read the class syllabus from beginning to end. It has all the information about the course. So I really want you to make sure that you do work through that and do read it. And then contact me with questions before you start working on the regular coursework. Okay, little poll here. Let's take a look. How often do you check your grades? Is it A, daily, B, a couple times weekly, C, weekly, or D, never? So how often do you check your grades? How often do you check your grades? Okay, a couple times weekly or daily are our top answers, which is great. That is hopefully what you guys are doing, hopefully. Please don't never check them. That would definitely be a bad idea. And you do want to definitely check them daily or a couple times weekly. They're on your course homepages, so when you're logging into your courses, you should see them there as well. So there shouldn't really be a reason not to check them. They're very easy to look at. Okay. All right, so this is an art class. We talked about this just a couple minutes ago. You will draw, color, paint, and sculpt in this class. Yes. You will receive an art kit if this is your first time taking art at Agora. This is really important. If it's not your first time, if you've taken an art class here before and gotten the art kit, the K-12 does not send another kit. So if you have taken it already, then that was the kit that you get. And it's also important that those of you that are receiving kits this year, make sure you hang on to them if you're planning on taking another art class. You are expected to use the art supplies that come, and I will demonstrate ways to make art in class as well as provide videos and documents to help you. If you think about it, your sketchbook activities and studio projects are your test. So if you think about that, you can't pass the class by skipping the test. So think about that. It is going to be an awesome art class. If this is your first time in art at Agora, again, you will receive some materials. Unfortunately, the materials sometimes can take a week or two to arrive. I'm not sure why. There's a shipping department in some other land that I don't know where it is. And when you get scheduled, there's supposed to be people there, and they are supposed to put everything in a box and send it to you. But for some reason, it takes a little while to get done. So I honestly do not know where this facility is. If there's problems, I just have to email my principal, the assistant principal for the electives, and she follows up with the shipping people, the department that handles that. But usually it takes about a week, at the most 2, for those items to arrive. If you guys do not have your supplies if you do not have them by October, okay, so we have about 2.5 weeks. If you don't have them by October, then you want to let me know, because that is going to be the point where you should have had them by now. What you'll receive are paints, clay, and brushes. You'll get those 3 things in the kit. You will need to obtain, though, on your own, markers or crayons or something that you can color with. You'll need paper, and it can just be any kind of paper, a notebook, a notepad, printer paper, junk mail that has a blank side. You just flip it over and use the blank side. And then you'll need some pencils, which, just regular pencils, just number 2, the kind of stuff you just go to the store. Go to the dollar store. You can get a pack of pencils, a pack of paper, and some crayons. It would be $3. Now remember, if you're repeating this course, you do not get new supplies. So yeah, so Brent, if anyone doesn't have them by October, you'll just have to let me know, and I'll have a slide up when we get to that point. And I'll just have I'll set up a survey, and you can put your name in it and everything, and then I'll send it to the principal to check on. Okay, so for this course, you will step away from the computer. You will stand up. You will walk away. You will not take the computer with you. It will stay where it was. You will draw and color and paint by hand in this class. So just like the clip art here of the hand drawing, you will use your hands. It's amazing, though. I get halfway through the year and I have someone say, wait, I have to do this by hand? So I want to be clear. You do not turn in computer art. So you will not submit computer art to me. If you do, I will just not grade it, and I will give you a reply back saying, hey, this needs to be done by hand. Get your art supplies out. The only time it's allowed is if the assignment states specifically to use a computer program. And we do have one of our first projects I do have set up that you use computer program, simply because a lot of students don't have their supplies at this point. And that's just the About Me poster. So we'll talk about that later. But if it says you may use a computer program for this, then you can use it. But if it does not say anything about a computer program, the answer is no. You should be using your art supplies. This is a studio-based class. We have an animation class. We have a modeling class. We have a photography animation. We have a whole bunch of classes that use some form of computer animation. This is not that. This is a studio class. This is getting your hands dirty, using the supplies, really getting your hands on and away from the computer and onto those art supplies. So I want you to keep that in mind as you're working through the lessons. This is a semester-long course, so I forget the exact date, but we do end in January. That's where the second quarter ends, so the first semester, second quarter. We're going to learn about the ancient artists who used the building blocks of art. These building blocks are the elements of art. And if you think about it, you can't make words without letters. So if we didn't have the alphabet, we couldn't make words. Well, the elements are like the alphabet. So we can't make art without our art alphabet. So we need to learn those elements. And we will work on those throughout the entire semester. So this isn't something that you're going to learn right off the first day. We will work on these all semester. These are just a few examples of some of the studio projects that students have done. Lots and lots of different studio projects. So what your agreement is that throughout the semester in Foundations of Art, you are expected to follow certain rules. Live classes are key. Both async and sync students are required to come or review the recorded session. Async students would be watching the recording. Pacing is key to the class. Therefore, late work is not accepted, and extensions will be granted on a case-by-case basis. Without submitting work on time correctly and done to the best of your ability, you cannot pass the course. Therefore, what you need to do is try your very best, turn in the work on time, and ask for help before falling behind. All right, so give me a green check if that makes sense. Green check to show you understand the late work and live class requirements. If you have questions, you can send those questions to me. Otherwise, we will move towards our wrap-up, and I'll explain to you how we do exit questions in this class. Okay, excellent. Okay, so that's the requirements of the class. That's the requirements of the class. Now, you have available to you, and this has been such a great item for students. I instituted this last year, and the students just resoundingly said they loved it. What this is it's a raise your hand discussion board. So on this, you have the opportunity to ask questions about the class, about assignments, or to share artwork that you've created. And it doesn't have to be artwork that's an assignment. It just has to make sure it's school appropriate, obviously. But if you've done work outside of the class, you can share it here. Then if you see a student has a question and you know the answer, you can respond to that student with an answer to that question. If you're posting a question about an assignment, please put the unit and the lesson number so everybody knows which one you're talking about. If I don't reply, another student may reply. But this is a great way for you guys to have that open forum. This never closes, and you're able to post there anytime you want, 24/7, every single day. All right, so work in this class is going to be submitted through discussion boards. You won't be submitting through an assignment. You will post your work and then reply to 2 other students. You'll check the replies to your work and reply to those students. Now, we'll talk about this more as the class goes on, but there's no postings of good work, I love it, nothing like that. You need to be specific in your comments whenever you are commenting on another student's artwork. So if you're talking to another student about their artwork, you need to be specific in saying, hey, I really liked how you drew this picture of this flower. I think the colors that you used really made it pop. I think that maybe it would be cool if you added a little bit more red to it. But all in all, I think it's beautiful. So you want to be specific. You also, if somebody responds to your artwork, you want to make sure that you respond to them. So, hey, thanks. I really did think that that color was the best color for me to use. And I think it really made it pop. So think about that as you're working through the discussion boards in the course. Okay, how are we doing? Anybody look like this on the other end of their computer? I always have this image in my head of another student like, what? And they look just like Jackie. So any questions so far? I hope nobody looks like him right now. It's like, what? Hope everybody is like, you know, thumbs up. Like, I'm good. Okay, excellent. All right, well, I'm going to leave a little bit of time at the end of class too if you need to meet up with me. It is old, but I'm old. All right, let me just get this straight out for you guys. I'm old. So you're going to see some old memes. I'm 42, so you will see some excellent 80s memes. And I will laugh, and you guys will say, I don't understand. Probably. I am. I'm probably as old as some of your parents. And my son, my 10-year-old, laughs hysterically at me when I use memes. He's like, really? Really? He says he's glad that the students don't know him because he would just be terribly embarrassed. If he's ever home from school, I'll have him say hi. He's horribly embarrassed by me, quite often. Okay, so the way that I do exits in this class is we're going to use a survey. So just remember, as you're getting through the class, as you're moving through the class, get in the habit of checking and reading emails throughout the day. Respond to the emails and calls. Complete the activities listed on or before the due date. And if you're having trouble with that, you're reaching out to me so we can come up with a plan. You're asking for help when needed. And your first step is completing that art orientation. Now, I have a survey set up for you for our attendance. And what this does, it's such a cool thing. It tracks all your answers for me in one beautiful place. And then it also lets me know how many you've answered. And it just makes it really easy for me to see what you're saying at the end of class. And it's all in one place instead of having multiple folders of lots of screenshots, which can get confusing. So what I'll do at the end of classes is I will put a picture up like this that has some questions for you. You're not typing on the screen. What you're going to do is I will give you this link. There you go. You can open that if you want to. And I will put it in the text box, and then I'll put it up on the board for you. And it should be up on the board. There you go. I know sometimes students can't click on the board for some reason. So I always make sure to put it in the text chat as well. What you'll do is you'll click on that, and it's going to go through a couple of different questions. It's just going to ask you, you only have one choice for what class. It's Foundations of Art. And after you click on that, you'll come to a page that has a lot of student names. And you will need to scroll. It's by last name. So you should look for your last name. And check the little box next to your name. After you do that, keep going down to the bottom. You should see a next button. It'll then ask you your class section. So you'll put in your class section. And then you'll answer this exit question on the next part of the survey. So it's going to just ask you, the exit question section just says, answer the exit below. Question is on the Class Connect board in your classroom. So you're going to just type your answer right into that question spot. So go ahead and find your name and fill out your exit. Your questions are going to be 3 things you learned or want me to know about you, 2 goals you have for the class, and 1 big question you still have after this session. Yes, so, you know, I just fixed it to 1:30. I just noticed it said 1, but yeah, if you already clicked on 1, then that's correct, yes. Tuesday, Thursday, 1:30. Or if you had clicked 1, that is correct as well. As soon as you have that survey filled out, you are going to be good to go. If you have questions, though, I do want you to stick around. I want to help you out. I want to answer those questions for you. So I wanted to leave, we have about 10 minutes left of the class period. So I wanted to leave that for a Q&A for anyone that's having any difficulties. I know you guys just did orientation, but you might still have a question. And you'll know you're done with the survey because you'll get a notice that says, thank you, your response has been recorded. And then it'll say you may exit the classroom.